the Township Board to order today, Wednesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. And I will go ahead and call the roll. Aldrich? Here. Bigford? Here. Helmrich?
Here.
Marcy is excused late. And Osmond here. Shall we stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. That takes us to our first agenda item is approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a suggestion that we amend the agenda to move the public hearing on the special assessment district to come right directly after this agenda approval.
Then there are two other additions, the resignation of Commissioner Barnett from the Park Commission.
Yep.
And Commissioner Shipley from the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Joel. That's very helpful. Do I have any motions?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you.
I will support that.
Okay, I have a motion by Bigford, support by Aldrich. Bigford?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries. Now I'd like to open the public comment. I'd like to open the public comment section of the portion of the agenda. So if there are people that are here and would like to speak, please raise your hand or let me know, or I can call you from a signage list. Anybody? Go come up to the podium.
This is for the public hearing for the 66th Street.
Well, I think she said public comment.
Oh, I did.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. We'll call you next.
That's good.
Coming right up.
Coming right up.
I hear she's taking.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak on the assessment district? I'm not hearing anyone. So we will close that public hearing and open it up for public comment. Now you can come up to the podium.
Sorry, I should move the mask for the purposes of addressing you. My name is Mark Whitty. I'm the Executive Director at Allegan County Community Mental Health Services. Been there for about 4.5 years now, and a few weeks ago I sent you a communication. I'll provide you with my card and actually more copies of that if I give that to your manager. Essentially what I wanted to address you on was reminding you of our interest in having you consider contribution to Allegan County Community Mental Health Building Project with your ARPA funds that will be received at some point in the future. The purpose of our building project is to relocate from our current location on 122nd Avenue in the county's administration campus to the Shopko building on M40 across from Allegan Ascension Hospital. We've been looking at that building and working on a plan to acquire it for the past 2 years. We've received a positive commitment of funds from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to a loan in the amount of $6.3 billion. And when we went to hire our construction company and to put out bids for the renovation, we were really walloped by the changes in the construction industry related to the COVID experience. So we are an entity that provides most of our services through Medicaid funds and through some state general funds, all of which cannot be used for capital purposes. We can pay bills, we can pay against loans, but we can't construct facilities or use capital dollars. We considered a capital campaign fund. We also were not really encouraged by the results of that estimation as well. So we really are left with looking to county sources, county and municipal sources for contributions to be able to make that happen. We are an authority under the county and so have our own operation that way, and we receive a fixed allocation from the county itself. So what we've done is to ask each township, each village, each city, the county itself, the state itself, for consideration of their emergency COVID dollars to be able to do a portion of that. Our ask for you was 10% of your allocation. As soon as we hear enough of a positive indications of people willing to contribute that, we certainly will not go beyond the amount that we've asked for, which was a gap of $2 million that we need to close. So if you have questions on that, you have the materials that I've provided you in the past on June 24 by email and now in paper. And we just would really appreciate the opportunity for consideration as that happens. In my time at Allegan Community Mental Health, we have been focused on trying to increasingly meet the needs of the members of our community. I have a lot I could tell you about that, but I will save that for another time. Thank you.
One more minute.
Almost done. Thank you.
Well, I have a question. Just, two actually. One, I don't remember the June 24th email, so I don't know if we have it. Just
Exactly what I've provided you.
reshare with the board, because I'd like to read that. Sure. And I assume you're just starting your tour around the county, so there's no... This month is a month that we've started to do that. So yes, we've had many meetings over the last few weeks. Well, good luck, and hopefully you'll tell us how the response is going. Hope to give you an open house invitation in about a year. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Whitty.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening, board. It's great seeing everybody. I'd like to just start with Chief Janik, just to mention him. For about a month ago, there was a question with the lean system, the inoperability of the 911 system that he worked so hard to get. And there's a question about not letting fire be part of that. I ended up seeing the work that he did with the state fire marshal, the connections that he had to change that whole thought process going, we can't change this would be terrible. With the basis of the professional way that he did it, I just want to say to the board, you're part of him really, just to say the great job I saw that he did in representing it and saying, this isn't the way to go. This would really deter our working together as units with Sheriff's Department, State Police, and everyone. And he got that whole thing to swing. I mean, he is the basis for really the biggest change within it. So I just want to give him all the kudos I can to you as really the supervisors of him, just to say, great job, Chief Janik. You did it great. I hope you mentioned it to him. Just some local information from the county. I was looking at numbers the other day. We have 386 employees, if you didn't know that. I didn't even know that. I was thinking like 350. I went 386 because I end up seeing every month, like they hire 8, 5 left. I thought, that's a great number. But just to say, to run county government, when you think of the Sheriff's Department, the court system, the road commission, just all different groups as far as what it takes to really run it. And then I'll just go through MCT systems. Do you know what that is? It's a mobile computing terminal that all the state police, Sheriff's Department, they have in their system. So you're going to look up the plate, look up to see if the person's wanted. We need to replace what we have. We're replacing 105 of them in the county for some $389,000. Just so you know, Rock 10, I've mentioned it again and again. We finally got a contractor for that. Pitch Construction Company is going to do the demolition on that. The animal shelter that your group has run for a long time, we've done some changes there. Just so you know, we have a new entrance that's completed, new generator installed, replaced washer and dryer, new cat kennels, and that group has done a tremendous job in doing that, and we're trying to support what they do. And then just lastly, we are working on a new county website. We're almost done with it. It'll be running in October, but I'm looking forward to having you look at it, and I believe you'll be impressed as I am. But have a great meeting tonight. It's great seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone else that would like to speak? Raise your hand. Stand up. Come on up.
Hello, I'm Scott Stearns, 3462 Riverside Drive, Saugatuck. Hello, everyone. I just came, I know that the township and the board have a lot on their plate, but I just, based on some recent meetings that I've attended over the last year, I wanted to come and just mention that I would like to encourage the board to find a way to continue to broadcast meetings live via Zoom and to use that platform for allowing public comments. And I know that that's technically challenging and there's a lot involved, but I think honestly, it wouldn't involve every single board person having to join individually. I think just if from the manager's laptop or a laptop, it was joined, and then you could feed the meeting out so that people could follow it and just allow them to make comments. For those who are, for some reason, unable to attend but would like to participate, I think it's just a real valuable tool to consider that would help build community and allow engagement and just kind of help to solidify things. So I just wanted to mention that as a possibility. And the other thing, and I know this is kind of minor, but after attending a lot of meetings, I think it would be awesome if the township was able to maybe get one more monitor for the room, because I know I've been at meetings that have been crowded, and if you're seated along the wall here, it's really challenging to see it. And I guess just to put a little bit of an addition on that, if we were live streaming the meetings, people could actually, and you were feeding the manager's slides to the screen, people could actually, if they wanted, if they had an iPad or something, they could actually look at the slide from their seat on their iPad. So that's all really simple. Do I have more time, Cindy?
One more minute.
Okay. Two things really quickly then. I was really impressed with all the work that the recycling committee did on the information that they put in the packet. It all seems really good. I'm not that much up to speed on it. The one thing that struck me, and I may be one of the few people that doesn't know the history of this, but I saw a reference in there to, I think it was 2017, withdrawing from the Allegan County recycling, and I was just curious because they did such a thorough job and everything sounds great about the advantages and disadvantages, but I didn't see anything treating the question of whether there would be any viability or any reason to consider rejoining the Allegan. And everybody probably knows more than I do, but anyway, that's all. And maybe just I would like to see a little more full-throated endorsement of the Rivermouth letter from the Dunes Coastal Alliance. What was proposed there to me seemed like it could be stronger and a little more passionate in light of what this part means to everybody and to our township. Okay, Cindy.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
Is there someone else that would like to speak? Maybe Ms. Weston?
Do you want me to speak now or when you address the river?
There's two opportunities for public comment. One is
He's an applicant.
Oh, he's an applicant?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think your piece talks then, right, for the Harbor Authority?
Yeah. Is there anybody else that would like to make a public comment at this time? Raise your hand or step up to the podium. Seeing none. We'll close the public comment portion of the meeting and move on to the consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? Anybody like to make a motion?
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support?
I'll support.
Any more discussion about the consent agenda? If not, I'll call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries. And then we can move on to number 7, unfinished business. That would be about branding. Can you fill us in, Mr. Fry, about where we are with that?
Yes, I can. So in your packet, you will have received an updated quote that the board wanted to see in the branding proposal. Also, I did email you all a couple links to some PDF files. I will show you them on the screen as well, and kind of how this works in Gladwin County with the city of Gladwin, the city of Beaverton, and various entities. First off, I'd like to go through the proposal. The proposal estimate of work is first the discovery phase, which includes a kickoff meeting, survey and research. So researching our various documents. We this winter went through the visioning exercise, so that's a lot of that research part. And then a part of this is the approval and discovery report. So you'll get a report back on what they come up with. That then goes into the graphic identity stage, which includes coming up with the design of a new logo and brand. That is why that is the $6,000 section. It's a lot of work. It comes with 2 rounds of creative review. What that means is they'll come back, hear feedback, get a little critique. They'll go back, update it, and then come back to the township for finalization. The third and final product is compiling everything into a report and all the products that is included. So this includes the brand guideline PDF, but including but not limited to recap of the mission and vision statement, the formal logo and best practice on used or live days unit, the casual logo and best practice, brand typography, keeping that one typed up, and then brand color palette, and then application examples of this brand. Also within this includes delivery of all logo formats, JPEG, EPS, PNG files, as well as black and white and brand color bandernation. So I'm going to close this real quick. I'm going to pull up Gladwin County and the city of Gladwin's brand touch, which is that final document which includes everything. So, on the screen you will see the Gladwin, Michigan. So this was one that was presented to the county. So in this document, and this is a document that you can give to designers for the website if you want logos and brands and anything that we want marketing wise. We can hand this over and they will know what to do with it. So it is broken up into 6 different sections. 1, the brand overall, the logo, the color palette, the font type, how the brand itself can be expanded, and then the resources. So in this format, and this is what I presented to the contractor and said this is what we want. We have already done this first step, which is the brand statement, more or less. We have our vision statement, kind of what we want, as we've done it this winter. A lot of this would be just taken from those products we already have. The brand message, so there would be a brand message with that tagline, like Coke is, I can't remember what Coke is, but McDonald's.
The real thing.
The real thing, I don't know, they change sometimes, so, well, I think it's red when you think Coke, and, you know, blue is Pepsi, those types of things. That's what this whole brand is trying to get into your mind. So, for the county, it's near north now, and for the city of Gladwin, it is connected to nature. That's their tagline. Here's the logo design that they have for the county seal itself, and then near north, kind of a community brand that can go on a bag or something to market the community overall. Logo variations, so Trail of 2 Cities, they have a trail system themselves, are connecting 2 cities, and they wanted to market that. Different other organizations, and then just kind of some logo stuff for the designers, so that they understand how, you know, for the pixels, when you stretch something, the pixelization can get a little funky. And then it goes into the color palette, and it gives the number that you need. I worked on a project for the city of Gladwin. I was able to put their report by utilizing the exact color font so that it falls in line. It looks like it is a document from that organization. It's not some other color. You all know what it is. Then it goes into the font type, and then, you know, how it uses the fonts and so on and so forth. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. They gave, in this part, they gave away how branding can be used in wayfinding signs and updating to make sure throughout the county. The city of Gladwin does have the same thing. How it can be used on like bags and merchandise for the community itself. There are only two cities in Gladwin County. There's the city of Beaverton and the city of Gladwin. And so they wanted it to be Glad is the focus point to help with marketability for shopping for that shop local. Then shop local is Glad when you go to town. And then the graphics catalog, so all of this comes in the PNG, JPEG, and all the other formats that you require and just need. And so it comes in different variations so that we can just take it and use it quite easily. So from letterhead to just the seal itself to something that can go nicely on a website, it all works very nice in hand, and so on and so forth. And then it just kind of goes over what each of the formats are for. So any questions on that? That would be the final product once it's all done for that PDF report. I'm going to pull up now some websites just to kind of show you how this works. So the two cities worked together on doing this brand exercise. This is the city of Beaverton's new logo. Before it was this red thing and it was really hard to tell. And then the city of Gladwin, which is right here, and they updated both of their, after they got the branding, they updated their website to make it more transparent and easier access and design and more inviting for the community, as well as attracting new business, showing a very professional government institution that you're working with. And the city completed this in 2019. The Beaverton Business Association also went along. If you can tell, the font type is everybody using the same font family that was given to them for different things to connect it, and everyone is using the same color palette. The red and blue, green are the same colors as the county. The county is the green, Gladwin is blue, and the city of Beaverton is red. And they use those colors, that color palette, to represent what the business area association used to represent, which is business, church, education, manufacturing. That's how they tied in to everybody else. Last year, the Gladwin Business Association, they took a little bit longer to go through this process, updated their website and their logo before it was just a lamp post. Schools use a similar font. They still kept their logo design, but they wanted to tie in with everyone in the county with the font. So when they market stuff, everyone is starting to connect with. This looks like you're all family in some shape or fashion. The business, the Chamber of Commerce uses the font, it's the same color palette throughout all their merchandising and documentation that they send out. The county EDC is now moving along to do the same thing. You know, again, 3 years later, it took them a while to get funds in order to update the website to do this, and so on and so forth. Each organization builds upon each other so that as a region can market and everyone shows a similar design, and you know that that is Gladwin and Gladwin County, and everyone is somewhat connected. So when I go to a meeting, Douglas or Saugatuck goes into a meeting, everyone knows that we're in the same area. That is kind of the direction with the branding that Lisa Mize and myself were talking about for that marketability in order for the entire community. If we start going down this track, we can show to other organizations that if we work together, we can come together and really market and show off how great the community and our assets are to the state and local region and nationally. Any questions?
So this company does not do the website, though?
No.
So basically, we're getting the logo, right? And, you know, and making it pixelated so you can use it on everything, is that?
Yep. So for the website, it's a two-stage process. With what I'm presenting, it gives us a brand and a whole range of tools for other marketing things, not just the website, but we can use it for our permit. You know, when we go out with our T-shirts, trying to put a flyer together for trying to attract business. You know, here are some good assets. You want to invest here. You want to look here. We're all tied together, so it's not just for a website. It's for marketing and branding. Everything we do. So our first initial step is website.
Joe, do you know offhand the populations of Beaverton or Gladwin?
The city of Beaverton is 1,000, and the city of Gladwin is 3,000.
30? Three.
It's the same population size as us and the two cities. And they have, they're Alice, which is asset limited, so individuals who are in poverty or very close to poverty is very high. The branding mechanisms that they got came through the state, so they were able to help get this launched with very cash-strapped organization, and now it has updated their, the city of Gladwin updated their police department logos, and now the police uniforms have nice new patches. The police vehicles are all with this new design over time. They did this over time. Their park and recreation updated stuff. So everything, instead of separate designs, right now the Riverside has one design logo and our dog park has something. If you were just to take a snapshot, you wouldn't tell that is representing Saugatuck Township. It's just some cemetery and some dog park somewhere. Where if you go into Holland or communities that are working on wayfinding, marketability, and design, you go anywhere and you know exactly whose organization and where you're at. So this is a step towards that direction.
One thing I've noticed, I don't like their design that came up. I think our little tree thing that whoever draw that is actually, I kind of like it better. I wish I liked them better, They're Gladwin and Beaverton.
Oh, that's a different company. Right?
Oh.
So to go into that a little bit more, the community, they have multiple community input on what our design would look like. So each one has some ties to it, but it was very uniquely designed for that community. The Association for Business in Beaverton, they wanted the heart because they wanted to show that they care and they have a heart as business leaders. So it kind of went into their faith-based mentality as a business association. So each organization took parts of a joint brand and did what they needed to do to fit them. So for us, this would just be a little bit more fleshed out and we would, to the public, say, hey, please come with us. We're going on a marketing adventure together.
So have we seen any samples of this company's work?
Yes. It was in your initial packet, the
last one.
Oh, that was the one I didn't care for. Remember I was telling you that the other day? That was, I'm sorry, I was, yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'm
you know,
trying to clarify what we're looking
but
at.
that's the community of Spring Lake asked for that kind of
Oh,
design. You know, our design would be a little bit different, it's whatever the community and however part of this exercise, with this exercise, there's a community survey
Alright.
portion, so we can get feedback, and at the review, you know, we can put it out to the public and say, hey, you know, give us feedback, thoughts on it, we can go through that way. Especially with COVID, it's hard to get, groups together, but we can use some feedback and public engagement that way.
So you mentioned Lisa Misey and the CVB. I'm curious because I'm all for us collaborating more with them, but they just went through a very costly rebranding and launched a totally new website within the last year and a half. So would they be looking at changing to?
No, so what is being proposed is we use similar, they started the branding remake, which got my years ago, and oh, can we collaborate with you to use some of your font and some of your color palette and mix it with ours so that we can do this together. So the CVB started their brand overhaul. We would be the next entity that would be trying to share a similar dream of a marketing apparatus, and then hopefully other organizations, the cities, the schools, you know, everyone can slowly, at their own leisure, switch over.
Is Saugatuck and Douglas looking at it right now, or are they talking, or?
I've asked their managers about it. It's not the top priority list for their council. Our list is updating our website, and I wanted to bring to you some options, because one of our other goals is collaborating with our partners, and I thought this would be a very good partnership that we could do.
So are they aware of the fact that at least, I mean, right now, that's bearing in mind future collaboration with other entities in other cities, right now, we have very few component parts to this. You know, we don't have a police department, we don't have a Saugatuck Township school system, we do have parks, you know. I'm curious if they're aware of that aspect, that at least working with the township at this point, the deliverables we would be requesting are probably fewer than they're used to dealing with. And where I'm going with that is, I'm still, you know, concerned about the price tag.
I am too.
So is there a way to get started smaller and more affordable that doesn't slow down the website design, which we all agree is critical?
I think I'm usually like the most frugal person, or one of the most frugal people in the room, and for whatever reason, Joe and I have had a lot of conversations and looked at, you know, examples together, and I think it just costs me more than what we think, you know, and if we just think, oh, we'll just pay some college kids to do it, it's just gonna look bad, you know, and I get it, like, because it's a big deal, you gotta, I don't know, I think you gotta get it right, and because they just aren't as clear, they're not as usable, I don't know, and those websites, I actually find them just more modern and fresh, and I think we could look at taking our old logo and just freshening it up, making it just more modern, like we're paying homage to this is part of our history and who we are, but let's just make it more appealing and new. So I would have huge sticker shock when I saw that. I was like, whatever, we can get for a logo, but I think I have a better understanding. Joe, what else was there's something about if we do this, it sets us up for like grant funding for, can you talk about that a little bit?
So the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, which is the economic development arm of the state, has a redevelopment ready program. Part of that program requires a branding and marketing plan. I recently completed Gladwin's branding and marketing plan, but it was 10 times quite substantially easier to put that portion of the requirements together because the city already had its branding and how it would use the document. All we had to do is write a report of how we're going to use the brand. So we already were able to show the state, hey, we can check this box off and get certified, which opens us up to other technical assistance. That technical assistance includes master plan rework, an updating programs, doing studies, different things like that regarding the economic and planning realm. And that's what this program is for. We have a lot of these internal things kind of checked off, having worked with the state on this project with both cities and being familiar with the program. We'll be able to check a lot of this off once, if you guys choose to go that way. So it does open up some program availability. We're just doing it ahead of time.
I think, it was a sticker shock thing. But then I realized that, to me, what is most important is that we look professional. So when you have that, you have the same colors and the fonts. I worked at a college that had 30,000 students, and at one point they did try using the students, but it didn't work. You really need a company who's seasoned, and this is what they do. But I think I come around as well in terms of just looking really professional and not like person A threw this together and person B. Also, when I worked there, you did not dare to put out anything that didn't have exactly the right colors, the right fonts, that kind of stuff. So, but it worked. I thought it was great.
Are there other companies to check into, possibly, or are they all the same price, or can we shop around?
So there are, we can go out and get other bids after reviewing the policies because of the unique nature of trying to collaborate, because they already have this same font tone and they know exactly what the Convention Bureau did. That is why I got this quote and didn't get other quotes. Now, if the board would like to see other quotes, that is, we can do that. A full exercise is in the $20,000 to $25,000 range. We've already done a lot of the visioning and exercise with the board together, and that's why the cost is less. So, initial, it would be more if we did a full exercise. This is kind of a half exercise because we've already done some of them.
Is there a possibility to talk about this at the workshop and because I'm wondering if, I'm a little bit on the fence. I don't know how anybody else feels.
Well, I'd like to hear more potentially from the two cities. I know that it's going to take time because everyone's going through some transitions.
I like the idea of coordinating with you know what I'd like to, I would just like to see, because I think I asked you last time if they had anything up yet on their web, CVB. And I don't think they did, correct, of the new branding?
Yeah, I believe they have, they didn't get necessarily a new logo. They got marketing and font and how to do the more marketing and branding. Like currently their current logo still, from when I talked to Lisa, is the Saugatuck with the river line Douglas. They're still using that model because apparently they decided they liked that logo. If we like our, tree and sand dune logo, well, we can keep that and get some other tools. As I talked to Stacy, we can, if you guys are fine with the current logo, we can see if we can get a lower cost just to do the font type and that more marketing stuff, and not necessarily the logo itself. If that is what you would like to do.
I wouldn't mind seeing what they would come up with though, in terms of logo. But I think what would be great is if we could have some of the marketing materials from the CBB. I would like to see it, just to see how the color scheme works and that type of stuff. But I do think we have to do it before we do a website.
That would be my comment as well, that it needs to be professional, it needs to be right, and, because we're going to be married to it.
Yes.
We don't really want to just keep out because it's not something that we do every year. It will be a multi-year branding solution, so I guess that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know about you, Abby.
Because I've had conversations on and off for the last 2 months about it, I'm ready. I was first like, what? That's ridiculously expensive, but now I see the value of it and I see that it is costly, you know, and it's just, if it's important to us, we need to move ahead with it, in my opinion, but, so, I can try and make a motion if you'd like. All right. I move to approve the township branding proposal from Concept A Creative as proposed for $8,500.
I'll support.
Any further discussion?
I guess I'll just add, I'd like to echo what Stacy said. Seems to me this could be part of a discussion next week in the workshop. I'm all for it, but I don't feel we reached out and had, we had one bidder, not, and there's a lot of companies that do this all throughout Michigan. And I do think that price tag is high, because I think our initial needs are limited or smaller until we maybe do get other entities on board.
But then you lose the CBD uniformity, if we like it.
That's right.
Because that's who did theirs. This isn't who did theirs.
I just wonder
Well,
if we want to talk to Saugatuck and Douglas further before we go ahead. I mean, you know, I don't know.
Evolution is they see that our website looks amazing and our branding looks great, and then they're like, it's right here, it's already, just get on board, you know, it's kind of like how that's been about in those other, in that county and cities.
And Joe did mention that he has reached out to them, but it's not on their list of priorities.
Right.
So I don't think now would be a good time to do that again.
Yeah, and also I just didn't like the companies, what they came up with. I really didn't like it. I'm hoping they have more creative ideas.
But again,
I thought it was,
companies.
it's also the community.
well, remember the first one?
Yeah.
Were you impressed with that?
Well, you have to look at it, it's a collaborative effort. It's not just the company designing it.
All right. Okay.
Any more?
And I like the hearts, I'm sorry. See?
That
wasn't that company.
I know it wasn't.
I just want to
Yeah.
No, I know it wasn't that company. Okay.
Okay, any more discussion? I'll go ahead and call the roll. Bigford? Yes. Marcy?
Yes?
Helmer?
No.
Baldridge?
No.
Osman? Yes. Motion carries. Next on our list is under new business, our park and recreation application review for appointment to the park committee, or the park commission, which is an elected position, has 2 open seats with 2 resignations. So if there's someone here that would like to introduce themselves and tell us why you would like to be on the park commission, I would be ready to hear you now.
If you don't mind, I need to breathe. Good evening, my name is Ken Butler. My wife and I moved to this area in the middle of the pandemic, which is a wonderful time to move. We got here in September, and so we're closing in on 1 year. Prior to that, I was on city council in New Baltimore for 36 years. From my first election to the day I left, I was the liaison between the city council and the Parks and Rec Commission. During that time, I'm not going to stand here and say that I built 3 additional parks and added and tripled the main city park on the north end of Lake St. Clair, but I was part of that process. That includes negotiating with the DEQ, DNR, and Army Corps for a set of docks. That was 2 years after a harbor was denied by the Army Corps. We told them that we really didn't want a harbor, we just want a set of docks. The distinction is very slight, but it was enough to get the job done. We opened up the second park on the lake, and we took an old dump site, we turned that into a park by encouraging all the developers that if they were digging basements or bringing in dirt and didn't know where to put it, keep putting it there. And we built the sledding hill that way. And it's just an example of something that Henry Ford said, and that is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Part of being on the Parks and Rec Commission is looking to what opportunities you can present your residents to get out and enjoy the wonderful outdoors of riverfront, lakefront, in cooperation with the adjacent communities. And as I look at your map, and even the discussion here tonight, so much of what you do is really tied into, well, what's Douglas going to say? What's Lake Town going to say? What's Saugatuck going to say? Like your prior discussion, of which, you know, how much easier would it have been if said, well, if you sign on, we got Saugatuck, we got Douglas, and we're going to get a group price that's going to be somewhat less, and we're all on board that we're not going to do all this work, and you guys aren't going to go with it. That just makes your job harder. I'm a firm believer of having those discussions with adjacent communities. I'm a retired attorney. I did a lot of civil litigation, but after being on council for 36 years, you do learn a few things about municipal law, and you learn about municipal funding, because Parks and Rec lives and dies by what can you generate for income. One of the first things I did when I was on council is I brought them the idea of a triathlon. The triathlon has celebrated its 35th year. I was the initial race director. I designed it. I will admit that most of the race was designed on the back of a napkin at the Green Street Tavern, but some great ideas occurred in places like that. And the nice thing about the triathlon is that it generates an income, and that income is designated to the Parks and Rec Committee. And they make recommendations as to where that money's going to go, because we all want more parks, we all want more lake access, we all want more river access. If you haven't done the run on the river through the township up to New Richmond Bridge, it's a great ride. Through some of the turns, you're all by yourself, and you start to think you're like James Bond and live and let die, which is hard to do on a 14-foot aluminum boat with a 9.5, but it's a great ride. I believe in research, I believe in questioning, I believe in the search for funding, and I believe in phone conferences. I'm very mindful of the Open Meetings Act. I've done research on it. I haven't done it recently, but the last time I checked, that if a commission has an agenda and there are going to be decisions made about that, there's nothing illegal for the different board members to talk to each other, find out where we agree, where we disagree. If there's a disagreement, what is that issue? Is there a different way of doing it where you can build a consensus, and then you come to a meeting And you may not all just always agree, but at least at that point, nobody walks away with hard feelings like, you voted against me. No, I voted against the idea, the concept, and these are my reasons. And you build a better respect between the different board members. I moved over here because my wife, who was in New Baltimore for what she claimed far too long, after I took a buyout from my firm, I got a chance to move. She grew up in Portage. My son went to Hope College. I got to know the area better there. I went to 4 seasons of Hope soccer. And my daughter is now looking at moving to Grand Rapids. My other son's in Chicago. So this geographically made sense. I'm very excited about the area. There are things about Parks and Rec and cycling and running routes that I think are great here. And if any of you are cyclists, I want you to know how lucky you are, because in the Metro Detroit area, Macomb County, St. Clair County, they don't get off over the road when they go by you. I don't know how many times you see people who will get all the way over to the next lane to go around cyclists, to go around runners, to go around walkers. I won't say they were aiming at me. I did get hit by one car, came out okay on that one, don't want to do it again. But this is a great area. I would like to offer my expertise. I don't have 20 years of experience here, but I think I could bring something to the board, and I'm reminded of a sign my dad had in our old cottage, and that is, we get too soon old and too late smart. Hopefully I'm not either of that yet, and if I can be of service, let me know. If the board has any questions for me, I'd love to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Butler?
Sure.
Thank you.
Here we go. Even though we've talked a few times. I know you've only been here a year. Have you had a chance in that year to visit any of the township parks?
I have been to the River Bluff Park. I did not make it down to Sundown, which somebody told me is not open yet. I have cycled extensively around. I would love to know the rest of the story about Riverside Road and how it breaks, and what steps have been taken to try to connect those pieces. Because I know they've paved Riverside Road south after the break. And I'm sure there's a long, long story, but I'm reminded that as you drive over here, as you go south of 96 along M6, there's a big, long area where they have a cycling path along the freeway. And I would love to know how they did that, because that would be great if you could come off of Wiley, go along the freeway, and then dive back down to because it's beautiful cycling along the lake.
You probably mean Lakeshore
You mean
Drive.
Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, that's okay.
We have 2 rivers.
I live on Riverside, except now the post office says you live on Sand Hill Lane.
Right.
And FedEx says, no, you live on Riverside. And,
So we have a lot of that here.
So, but yeah, the Lakeshore, and I don't know if you've gone, I don't know what it's like along Lake Michigan north of 89, but south of it, there are 2 parks where you can access the lake and actually walk along the lakefront and then come back up.
Right.
If any of you haven't done that lately, it's amazing to see.
Well, the first one just reopened.
It's amazing to see what Lake Michigan has done to some of those homes.
Right.
And one of them is gone.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
So, in fact, I lived on Lake St. Clair on the north end of Vancouver Bay, and when we moved over here, I said, no, I'm going to buy on the river. I've had it with wave action and excitement and I-beams and steel. So now I just deal with green plants.
That's why we're glad the lake's down about 20 inches this year.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Butler.
Thank you.
We we have another applicant here.
Hi, my name is Jane Dickey, and, this is what I look like. I was, born and raised in Chicago, and have always been stunned at the forethought that led to the beautiful parks that go all the way along the lake. I've always loved parks. I've, spent a lot of time in parks camping and walking and hiking and cycling and horseback riding and all of those great things. My professional training, maybe I taught your son, is as a developmental psychologist, and I taught at Hope College for 40 years. And because of that, I understand that there are different needs at different developmental times, and I'm pleased to see that the Parks Commission oversees some of the recreational things for children, as well as providing opportunities for walking and hiking and being in nature. And more research is coming out about what the benefits are of getting out into nature. Just hearing birds, being amongst trees, it changes one's mental health. And for children to get out and be able to run and play and be in nature and be physical is going to change their lives, probably, in terms of their health and well-being. So, I also live on 20 acres of land in the township, have lived there for 41 years. And we own a piece of the greenway that goes along the Kalamazoo River. And some of you might like to know, I know you know Old Allegan Road is a historic road. It's my understanding that the original Old Allegan Trail was the trail that went all the way from Saugatuck to Allegan. And it definitely, there are portions of it that still go to the New Richmond Bridge. And we own a chunk of that. And as I look at that and I ski out my back door and cross-country ski all around, all through these trails. And I think about how much people would love to cross-country ski if they had access. I think about what the parks could be. I think the parks that we have are good parks. I've walked through the River Bluff Park, and the only thing I don't like about it is how loud the highway is. It would be lovely if there were connector trails that would take you off through different parts totally away from the highway. And so I have visions for what I think we could do in this township. I currently serve on the people reviewing the master plan, and I'm on the rural character committee. And I do know that if the township is at about 40% right now of its possible total build-out. If following the zoning, you let all of those properties be developed, it wouldn't be Saugatuck Township as I've known it and come to love it were that to happen. So I think it takes action, I think it takes forethought, I think it takes all the things Ken decided. I think you should put him on the commission. But I would love to be a part of it. I can speak forcefully for the things I believe in, and I believe in this township, and I believe in parks, and I believe in a recreational vision, which is lifespan. So for those reasons, you have other details in my vita and so forth, etc. But for those reasons, I am happy to submit my name.
Thank you. Thank you, Jane.
Jane, don't go away.
Any questions?
Oh, questions? Oh, no.
I want to get off that.
It was the senior teacher thing in
the
me.
easy part.
Escape before they ask you questions. Okay.
Oh, I got a question. Do you have one?
Well, you know I have one.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
I love the stuff you said about, the importance of kids and nature. and then you mentioned you have ideas and vision, and I'm just curious, because the times I've spent in River Bluff Park, I've never seen a child there. And I just wondered if you've thought of any ideas it's such a beautiful, large park, and it's so close, but a lot of times I mention it to people, that friends and neighbors in the township, and they don't know what it is. Any thoughts on getting kids there?
Oh, I think, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure, my two daughters graduated from Saugatuck, schools, and they're doing very well in life, by the way, so they got a good foundation. I'm not sure what is going on with curriculum for outdoor education, for example, but I think I would look for, working toward collaborations. I know the recreational piece already links with the schools, recreational in the sense of sports and playing on recreational teams and so forth. But it would be great if there were some way to link with the schools to do something with outdoor education. And we have wonderful naturalists in this township. We have people who know stuff. We have people who could walk along the trail and excite the children about what's there. And so I think it's a possible collaboration between places where children are and some of the people already in the township who could contribute.
Great idea.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Jane.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. I think we have two other applicants. Is Ms. Yes, come on up.
Bring my water to my throat. Good afternoon, evening already. Wow, okay, my day is just zoomed by. My name is Jeanette Locher, and I moved to the township in December 2012, so I've been here for almost 9 years, 8 years, long time. Anyways, I keep wondering to myself, why am I staying here, and why can't I leave? Because I try to find a job, and nothing comes through, and I'm still here another year. My lease is up August 30th, so I'm like, okay, am I going to be here for another year? Maybe so. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the reason why I'm here. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing some input on the Parks and Rec and whatnot. So basically, I'm kind of the antithesis of this gentleman over here. I'm not a lawyer, not even close. I'm an artist. So that's the main reason why I actually came up here, is because I was trying to, get known as an artist out here and so on and so forth. Anyways, I've done a few volunteer works. I'm originally from the Detroit metro area, and I was on the Paint Creek Trail. I was on the board for that, and for 3 years, and we did a lot of different events to support the trail and to improve the trail and so on and so forth. So I'm used to going to meetings and everything. We had meetings once a week. So I used to do that. I also was on a artist, put art in the city. It's called CPAD. I can't remember exactly. It's been so long. I did that for 6 years. So I was like an artist consultant. And what we did was have artists apply to put their artwork out in the parks. So with outdoor sculptures and so on and so forth. And then we had to decide who we're going to hire, and we got grants through the Stillman Foundation. Yeah, those guys have a lot of money. So, and I also know how to write grants. So, ta-da, I can do that too. So, yep, I know how to do all kinds of stuff. So, but as far as the parks are concerned, there's some really nice parks here. I do a lot of hiking, especially in the wintertime. Summertime more so the biking. The biking seems to be a bone of contention between us and Douglas for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that, but I see a lot of, stuff on Facebook going on. So, which is a real shame, because I really was looking forward to having all these bike trails connected, so I don't have to ride in the street, because the gentleman said he was hit once, and I almost got hit 2 times on Blue Star Highway here, because they have to go on the highway to go from here to there, and these people, they're maniacs. They pass people in the breakdown lane, and you're right there, and you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're trying to kill me or something? So that's another thing for another time. But anyways, that would be nice to have the bike path connected, for one. There's a way also to get the kids to come to the park too. I'm a naturalist also, and an herbalist. I'd like the Renaissance woman, I guess. I do everything. I like learning new things. So, I guess long story short, I don't wanna take up too much of your time, because everybody's, oh God, stop talking already, please. I understand it completely. I think that I have a lot to offer. I got a lot of variety, a lot of myriad of different experiences, and I think that kind of all meshes together to hopefully improve, like I said, the bike paths and, the parks and upkeep and make them bigger, make them nicer. The other thing that always, kind of bothered me is I see a lot of lots being like clear cut, and that just breaks my heart because I love trees. You know, trees are our oxygen. I mean, if we didn't have them, we couldn't breathe. So just to see all the trees cut down, it's like, what are they doing over here? And, you know, and it's just, I would rather make it a park. Donate a piece of your property, make it a park. Like this lady has 20 acres. She wants to do the property season, right? There you go. Donate something. Put it in your will. There you go. See? And John Vanderbeek's kind of working on that too. He's a friend of mine also, and I'm really on board with what he's trying to do. He's trying to put the trails and make trails connect together, so I think that's just wonderful. So if you can just get all these pieces of the puzzle to make one big picture, that would be super, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm done.
Thank you, Jeanette. That
You're
was very
welcome.
nice. Is there any questions for Jeanette?
Everybody's been very thorough.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't wanna repeat a question,
You
because
can put
you've
me in the
already
hot
answered.
seat. I'm used to it. I used to be a professor too, so I'm used to get up here talking.
Do you have a question for us?
I guess, when is this going to be decided as to who you're going to put in the...
Probably tonight.
Really?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Should I be immature and go like, just pick me?
Good question, but yeah, it'll be
But,
good.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm an older person, but I'm still a child at heart, so we have some fun. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, whoever's next, who's the last person?
I don't think John's here, is he?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need to...
Any questions amongst the board members? We do have a letter from the existing park commission.
Yes, I would like to mention, before you make the appointment, if you could accept the resignation so that you can make two appointments,
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I don't remember her name.
Do I have a, you have
Oh, here it is.
Erica Barman
Erica Barber.
to
Well, I guess-
accept her resignation?
I'll make a motion that the board accept the resignation of Erica Barman from the Parks and Recreation Committee.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? I'll call the roll. Helmrich?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Bigford? Yes. Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries.
And then, would you like to do the planning commission at the same
We
time?
might
Can't
as
hear
well.
outside.
Would you like to do the planning commission resignation at the same time?
Yeah, we might as well do
The
that.
resignation?
Yeah.
Oh,
We have a letter of resignation from Denise.
There are two copies at your chair.
Oh, there. Letter of resignation from Denise Shipley from the planning commission. Is there a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept Denise Shipley's resignation from the planning commission.
I'll support. We have a motion and support. Is there any further discussion? I'll call the roll. Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Helmrich?
yes.
Bigford? Yes. Osmond? Yes. Motion carries. Now that we've completed that, we can move ahead with our appointments to the Park Commission.
Can we do them both together, or do you need them separate?
We could do a slate, can't we?
You can do a slate. I do want to mention that the current elected park commissioners do have a park recommendation letter that is at your chair. And all three, find it the copy you have, is just missing one, but the original have all.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Kenneth Butler and Jane Dickey to serve the vacancy on the Park and Recreation Board until the next scheduled election.
I'll support.
We have a motion by Aldrich, supported by Helmrich. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say that everybody was extremely qualified and had a lot of experience.
Yeah, and I hope that people will get involved regardless if
Yes.
they're on the board or not. Jeanette's so
Yeah.
enthusiastic. I just hope she will, you know, get involved with the board and love to have more input from her.
There are always more opportunities on our boards and commissions. In fact, we have one board, one authority where we have 2 openings and only 1 applicant.
Oh,
So,
There's also the library board
yep, library.
has an opening that will be coming up that the township board will have to, appoint, as well as now the planning commission.
Planning commission has an opening now.
The Art Association.
okay, great, thank you.
And you can serve on more than one board, but just saying. Stay involved. Thank you.
Any further discussion, comments? Eldridge,
Yes.
Helmrich,
Yes.
Bickford? Yes. Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. So since you're both still here, at some point, you need to get sworn in. That can happen in the office, and both Deputy Clerk Bovinsky and I can swear you in because we're notaries.
And
But you might want to call or check first.
To be sure that you're here,
Yeah.
to be, to
And
come
the
in
doors,
this morning.
door situation may change, and make sure one of us is here.
I don't know, I'm going back and forth to Holland to Lowe's so much, I'll just keep.
No, you're always dropping in.
And I'll be in touch, get you guys caught up on what the park commission, Jim Searing, who's the chair, is sitting right behind you, so.
Oh, I didn't see him there.
Right.
Yes, we did.
Okay, let's move ahead to our next agenda item, which is the Harbor Authority application review. Mr. Watson?
I'm glad I got the endorsement.
Hi, Dick Watson, Saugatuck Township resident. I've been living on the harbor for over 25 years now. I first want to thank the board for joining in with the other 2 communities that are on the Harbor Authority. I think it's extremely important that the township has a voice in what's happening on the harbor and what's going to happen in the future of the harbor. And if I'm appointed to the authority, I want to be one who's reflecting the voice of both the township board and the voice of the township residents, and not my own opinions necessarily. The harbor is really the most important natural resource that we have here in the Saugatuck area. Without the harbor being here, we would be Glen, Michigan. You know, the harbor is what caused the town to start in the first place. It's what's been the lifeblood of recreation, of who we are, and also whether it be fishing. It was a time timber, it was a time of fruit, spice, port, but those are all the important things that this harbor has been. And I've seen over the last 25 years a lot of changes that have been happening at the harbor. We all think it's just going to stay the same, but it's not. The harbor changes. It was last dredged, I think it was, if I get my dates correctly, in the 20s to make it a more navigable harbor. It was changed back in the 1914, when they put in the cut the channel in to the Lake Michigan, so we no longer went around the oxbow. So it does change. Unfortunately, these last couple of years, it's really changed significantly. When I look out my window and I just see all the green duckweed, when I have to take my boat, which is an electric boat by the way, that I have to push it out from my dock about 30 feet, because if I start the propeller there, I'm going to be caught in all the weeds that are growing. And this is not natural. This is all nitrates and different things that are runoffs that are causing all these problems, you know, in the river right now, and they need to be addressed. I have the ghost voice of R.J. Peterson in the back of my head. He was passionate about the harbor, passionate about keeping it, you know, the resource that it is for the town. And I would, you know, attend meetings with him. I would be very supportive of him in all these activities.
but I think it's really important that we as a township also help move the ball forward, because it's been a very slow moving ball to get different things accomplished. I think it's also important that things are done correctly. I remember one day when I came home for lunch and I looked out my window and I saw this helicopter spraying over our harbor. And I'm like, what is going on? And there were boats on the harbor and they were spraying this stuff, and I called the township hall. They said, well, that's going to be the Discovery Center that's doing it. I go, Discovery Center, what are you doing? Well, they said, well, they first weren't aware, but then they were aware, and they were spraying basically a herbicide to kill the Phragmites, but it was the same thing that's in
Roundup.
Roundup, thank you. Basically the same chemical that's in Roundup. And I was just shocked that this was being done without any notification. It was going on private property, it was going over boats, and that's not the proper way to take care of it, and it's a problem, and it needs to be addressed corporately with everybody in the community and done safely. So those are just some of the reasons that I really would like to be on the Harbor Authority, to help represent, the township in their concerns, because we do have a lot of frontage on the harbor, and it's important, and it's important to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Is there a question for this tonight?
I have more of a comment.
I do too,
If you don't mind. I want to thank you for applying to the Harbor Authority. I don't know if you're aware, but it's been an 8-year battle that I've led. I was the non-voting rep for 4 years to a previous board that didn't really share many of the concerns you voiced and that I certainly have had. And then, so I was very pleased less than a month ago when it finally all happened. The contracts were done. The two cities that voted yes, we voted yes. It's been a long slog.
It has.
And it's so critical because things like mentioning of the spraying and, the township didn't have a voice because they weren't really at the table.
Right.
You can go to a meeting and talk. If you can't vote, and there's only one of you, now there'll be 2 of us, 2 from each community, which is also so critical to this board's commitment to tri-community collaboration and moving things forward together. So, I felt like I could have written your remarks except for the personal things. I don't have a vote, so. So I commend you. Thank you for applying. I'm disappointed we don't have anyone else yet, but I also think this was sort of a very quick announcement and posting. I guess we can talk later if we can repost it, whether it's 1 or 2, but I just wanted to say that. I don't really have a question, because you kind of answered it.
I pretty much wanted to echo what John said. I know you're an environmentalist. I read your Facebook post, and I appreciate that. I think we on this board is very important to us. So I would feel confident that you would do the best job representing the township. So thank you for applying. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I guess I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to appoint Dick Waskin to serve on the Kalamazoo Lake Harbor Authority.
I'll support. Or do we know the end date?
Oh, the term?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay,
One of
but
the
that's
things
okay.
I'm like noting to myself, I need to get this.
I think it's 4, but I'm not
I
positive.
have to confirm with the other managers and read over everything.
Okay, so that will be December.
I'd say all of them.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Marcy?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Baldridge?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Congratulations.
And thank you for getting in there.
Thank you.
So, without any further ado, we will move on to item number 3 under new business, which is the Rotary request. I think that's communication. Any questions about that from Mr. Fry? Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay, we'll accept that as information. Okay. Next item is, did I miss something?
Yeah, because it's an agenda item, for our, I thought we'd be voting on it because next month is too late.
Okay, so,
I expected, Mr. Sullivan to speak at public comment. And obviously he didn't. But I don't, if you've all read this,
Yeah,
alright,
yeah, September
you
eleventh
want
is
to
great.
I'm willing to make a motion unless
I am.
it's inappropriate at this time. So like I said,
Do we know that,
it's an agenda item.
yeah, do
We
we,
know,
go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if we know, I've seen so much about not doing celebrations from military people on the 11th. This is different, but do we know? Do we have any idea how the community feels about it? I know we always do a Mount Baldy challenge, but it doesn't usually fall on 911. Has anybody else heard those concerns
Yeah,
about doing anything on September 11th,
I've heard it.
celebratory or otherwise? That's my only,
I
yeah, I have not heard that, but.
I know the two cities have endorsed this and they're chipping in. We've talked in the past about townships are not allowed to make charitable donations.
Right.
Then we've since learned that if it's for an event that anyone in the township can participate in, it is allowed. It's not a direct Rotary Club gives money. We can't do that. Cities can do that based on their charters, so we could support this.
Does anyone recall if we supported the 4th of July fireworks?
We didn't even bring it to the board.
We
No,
didn't,
no.
yeah,
Well,
It was
there weren't,
kinda too late.
well, there weren't any this year.
There was a
Remember
letter.
2 years
yes,
ago, our
there
first,
was, so we did get a letter. It was in our last board.
but there was,
but Club Maple put it, right?
Right. They were
that was,
asking us
that
for
was
the donation.
privately funded,
Yeah.
that wasn't
Right.
Yes.
Rotary Club. Remember the first year we were on the board, we were asked to participate in the July 4th festival in Kaufman Park. And we were thinking at the time that we couldn't give money, but we gave time and we all
Right.
volunteered on a 98-degree day, all day, serving food to show our support of the event.
So, can we vote on whether,
Yeah, I mean,
it's 1,500, correct?
if Rotary hasn't gotten any feedback or pushback, I'm okay with it. I just wondered.
No, it's a good question. I don't know.
You're asking for 1,500.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
So are we, who usually puts on 4th of July, Rotary?
Yeah.
And are they gonna do, I guess, is their plan to do 2 then, not like going forward, or is this in place?
This is in
for-
place. They can
Okay.
support the July because of COVID.
Right, it happened anyway.
Private restaurant owners stepped up and
Right.
raised money very successfully. He did ask us for money, but we never, the timing was like 2 days before.
Yeah, it was like right before the meeting.
And again, it was a good
Oh,
event, but the way it was privately structured was
Yeah.
different than the Rotary Club.
I do worry about, like, charitable donations, that if we open that door, because we haven't, to my knowledge, you know, made those donations to community events that are close proximity that any of our residents can enjoy, that we may get a lot more requests, and it might be very difficult to decide which ones
That's a good point. I think
to
that was,
support and which ones not to,
the closest was our support of the hazardous waste day.
right?
Don't we usually do this for the
No.
Rotary? No?
Remember, we have volunteered in the past.
Right. Because we didn't think we could.
We didn't think we could.
Not,
Yes, that's where we're going, okay.
I think that's a valid point, but
yeah, how do you handle the setting precedent?
Right.
And yet, we want to be collaborative. Saugatuck and Douglas both did this?
they voted already, right? I was trying to remember what it said.
I don't know.
I took it in and put it on the
Okay.
agenda. I didn't do any research on it.
I think it's in here. I read it this morning.
kinda like to know where they stand, that's kind of an issue.
I don't know.
And we'll point out if, just to remind you, the proceeds to the challenge, the race, all go to the Boys and Girls Club. So it kind of flows through Rotary, it's not a straight direct.
That's a good club too, I'm hearing great things.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's good.
no, and they become very active because of the support from Rotary.
Right.
So we're basically, they're not asking for us to support fireworks. That's just another way of looking at it, right? I mean,
Right. We're looking at supporting
The event, but it
And it
goes to
the volleyball.
And we're
team.
probably,
They consider the fireworks their gift to the community, and
Okay.
we're helping. And then money made from the race participants will go to the Boys and Girls.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion, please?
well, you know what? They are a wonderful organization, very trustworthy. I'll move that we, I don't know if you have a, oh, you do. I'll move that we accept the request for the $1,500 in funding for their Mount Bald Head Challenge.
I'll support.
Any further discussion?
Well, I think it is commendable and important. I remember doing the research on it, and it was a little bit of a gray area, and I worry about precedents, and so I can't get behind it, but I got it. I'm kind of torn, but I just...
That's okay, yeah.
You'll still talk to me.
That's why we're all different.
Yeah.
Of course.
Your number.
Okay, if there's no more discussion, I'll call the roll. Marcy?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Bigford?
No.
Osmond? No. Motion carries.
All right.
We're breaking a record today.
It's going rogue.
Everybody's so friendly. Important.
Let's vote.
I love it.
Okay, my favorite agenda item, building official contract. I'm going to ask to be recused from voting on this because I have some prior relationship with Eric. Not in the...
Don't have to say.
Professional relationship.
In a city far, far away, right?
So I'm just gonna introduce, Mr. Davis and just kind of what's before you, and then
Okay.
we'll have Mr. Davis kind of introduce himself. So as you know, Al Ellington, had to take the medical leave, this summer. Mr. Davis was able to help fill in that time period and helped us in the building department, get some things ready for, upgrading to, 2.0, which is technology and permitting. So we talked and did very well over that time period, and we negotiated a contract for a year-long contract to continue providing those services. And if the board does approve that, we will do a overlap with Mr. Ellington before he retires September 16th. Mr. Davis.
Good evening, thanks for inviting me tonight. You guys got a lot on your agenda. Not
Yeah.
you at all.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a building inspector for about 20 years, in different jurisdictions near Holland. I live on the south side of Holland pretty much my entire life. Our life is kind of changing a little bit too. My wife and I just bought a piece of agricultural property in Saugatuck Township. So, I'm driving through here pretty much every day. So this would be very convenient and, yeah, it's a great workload for what I'm looking for, so it's, yeah,
Great.
win-win, I think.
Yeah. Heard good things about you, I gotta say that.
Well,
Not
that's
the
what I
thing.
talk to,
Not
you know, you
Yeah,
can't do
no, I
this
have
stuff.
heard good things from Cindy.
Yeah.
Said you're
Yeah.
very qualified, so.
You might, you know, doing this job for 20 years, there's gonna be somebody that's not happy, but, you know, I take pride in the way I communicate with people and whatnot, and build relationships, so I think its reputation should be decent.
Well, I'd like to add, I have heard nothing about you from Cindy. However, as a board member that's in the office every day, I've observed you with staff and clients and builders, and I've just been very impressed with your engagement and your regularity of being here. And it's a positive change, and I think it's helping us achieve our goal of improving relations with people in the community, whether it's an individual homeowner or the contractor that works on their behalf. So, appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Thank you for hanging out for the whole meeting.
Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry, part of that wasn't.
This is something we've.
Not everybody can be heard.
I've been through it many times.
I too have heard great things about you, and I feel like it is just a great fit for us and for you, and wow, this could be a really great thing. So thank you. I have a question. It came from a question that Brenda had, I think, at our last meeting. Can you talk about, and it's nothing about you, it was a question about this position industry, you know, the building inspectors in general. How is accountability handled? Like, you know, you've heard different stories about different people, you know, maybe not being as thorough about inspections as others. How does that, are there checks and balances, or how do you handle that, or just, if you could just speak to that issue of how do we...
I mean, it's unfortunate that there is a huge variation in, you know, different jurisdictions, different personalities, and interpretations of the code. It's unfortunate. You know, I think that, you know, it sounds so cliche, but common sense goes a long way, is very much the case, you know, you have to take. But you also have to feel that, you know, there is a job to be done here as far as protecting people and making sure things are done right to a certain level, which is a minimum standard understood. But yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, being, you know, truthful and honest and consistent, I think, are the most important things with people. And, you know, at the end of the day, the building inspector is, you know, a professional person that people look at as, you know, being somebody who knows something about building. So I think it's all in the way you deliver the answer, I think.
Did I speak to what your question was last month?
I have a question. Is there any, when they approve, or you get your occupancy permit, or however it works, is there a form that comes with that? Do we, this would be for them, is, as part of, when there's an approval, what happens next? How do we know there's been?
When there's a final inspection?
Yes, final, yeah.
Then there's a certificate of occupancy that's issued.
Okay. So, I mean, if we were concerned about that, maybe we could do some kind of a checklist or something. I don't know.
I think we were just
we
having
were
that discussion in general, and I just wanted to hear from a professional in that field, kind of where, you know, and that's kind of, and you do hear, you know, if somebody's not doing what they're supposed to, you'll hear it from the fire department, you'll hear it from different people, and who it is, but I just didn't know if there was other mechanisms in place to, and at the end of the day, your name's on that certificate, that's, you know, that's your own, liability or whatever, your own.
It's actually a very good question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I didn't mean to be like,
No.
I was just wanted more information.
No, I understand, yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
How long's your current license for?
Well, I just had to, yesterday, went through the whole computer thing to try to renew it. Oh, so hard. But yeah, I think I got it all set, so, it's renewing this September, it'll be good for another 3 years.
And they're always 3 years?
Yep.
Okay. So, any questions for Mr. Davis or about the contract?
Oh, sorry.
No, I don't have anything else, thank you.
And the contract seems fine?
I'm
Fine, I said.
Oh, okay. Was it a question or?
No, it's over your head, but I'm looking at it.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions or anybody has anything, Joe knows how to get a hold of me. So
I look forward to it, and it's a great community. It's gonna be neat working here, you know. So, thanks.
Hey, Joe, I have an operational question for you on this issue. Will Eric have a township email?
Yeah, so we will be getting, by the way, Eric, you'll be getting a township email of me.
Good.
So part of this contract, there is a set office hour, time frame, as well as inspections. So the office hour is basically, you're in the township, minimum time and a maximum time, as the position is more part-time. That will allow more approachability in the office and with contractors. So it's a very similar setup that Mr. Ellingson has, except it's contract-based instead of employee-based, and we have more office hours than what we traditionally have had. And I know that's a focus for the board.
And that's a real plus with all the increased activity, I can tell you.
But maybe not Tuesday morning. That's an idea. Maybe not on Tuesday morning.
Well, right now, we're talking about on Tuesdays, because that's when we have our staff meeting with, staff, so I have everyone every 2 weeks meet so that we can all be on the same page instead of flipping through email. But,
be a full house.
yeah, as we, go over things, I know COVID and stuff, but as we go along, you know, I'm constantly assessing our operations and how we can make it better, and if we can change things, because like the old saying goes, you know, you don't have to, just because we did it doesn't mean it's right.
Oh,
So you can always see, I know that's not an old saying, I was trying to think of another one that didn't come to me, but, yes.
It could be changed.
Yes, it can be changed. The short and sweet.
Would you like a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll move to adopt the building official services contract with Eric Davis as presented.
Support?
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Marcy?
Yes.
Waldron?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hoping to keep them for something important. And, you did.
That's funny.
That's when it stood up and started talking.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, the new staff position, Mr. Fry.
Okay. As I have talked with you over these last 8 months, I've been assessing operations and how we do things. I know Manager Graham, before he left, very much told me about his concerns with capacity and where things are going, and making sure that as the manager to address that issue. And I told the board, you know, I like to make my own assumptions and review. Over these last 8 months, I have seen our number of permits that come through are, you know, we want a professional office and staff that, you know, can address questions and concerns from residents, applicants, and contractors. We hired an individual who was in the room who has done a very fantastic job at keeping up with what we were doing. Having seen where we were, I have, in talking with staff, determined that it is appropriate to create a full-time position and then fill that position to continue that work for flexibility in office so I can better manage staff. So if someone takes a day off or if someone's sick, we can keep the office fully staffed to answer phones, keep going. 90% of our business is building department related. So this will continue with that trait. This position is the Community Development Assessing Coordinator. I personally have done this job in another community. There are a couple additional things that are a part of it, but it will really help us move to that 2.0, that 21st century model. So the plan would be to open it internally, to our one person who is internal. And then we will, go through that process and, make our township better and help us move to that more online and, better response time for contractors when they go through our application process. Jennifer has really picked up on where we are and where we're going, and it's been a super help, especially since I've been transitioning, she's transitioning this whole office is transitioning to a new thing and getting caught up, and it's been a very good help. By the way, she passed her, probation, so.
Oh.
Congratulations.
What was that last
The double secret probation or just the probation?
What's probation? I'm confused now. So she passed probation.
Oh, okay, I heard probation, but I didn't hear what.
No, not a naughty one, it's just the word. Well, you have to go through. So I am recommending that, the board create this position and then fund it, with, on the slide, with starting with the $19 an hour, with benefits with, giving a little flexibility to have, conversations on that. And, just so you know, we will be creating this position, the office assistant position will still be on our books, it just won't be funded. And this won't negatively impact, our overall budget, I don't, foresee that, and it will kind of be taking the place of the intern, because we're combining those two. So overall, it will be a benefit to us in the long run, and we will be able to sustain a position as well.
But a part-time assistant, if deemed necessary, could be added.
Yeah, that can be a further discussion. As I've told the board, I am still conducting the wage benefit analysis, and we'll be conducting kind of a time management assessment of our office, to see, do we need a new person, and what would that position look like, going forward? Is it 2 part-time positions? Do we really need a part-time? And so that's coming down the line. That I did the survey, with Douglas and Saugatuck and Lake Town. They have all responded. Just have to put that information together in partnership with some data from the state.
Great.
It's going to be a lot of work, but that'll be coming down north.
You love that kind of work.
I do. I really do.
You're gonna do it anyway.
Is there a spreadsheet involved?
There is a spreadsheet.
We can't stop you.
As, Abby mentioned, I'm a very analytical person, and, I thought about that, and I really am, so. I do like that about myself, so, but that is coming down the line.
No need to apologize.
Yeah. So, just a quick question. So, the title is Community Development Assessing Coordinator. That still encompasses lots of the office assistant stuff, right? I mean, even though that is the bulk of the focus, and I get it, it still includes.
So, in the job description, as I mentioned, 90% of our office work is either something with the building and planning department, and then it goes to clerk and cemetery and then taxes. That's kind of the breakout of what we do. This position is really focusing on planning, building services, special projects, and the assessing, so that myself, the building official, and the zoning administrator, can all work on those high-level projects to keep projects focused, so that we don't, so the administrative stuff can keep running. She's doing fantastic at it, so we can keep, I can do this analysis work, but it will include office, working on special projects as assigned, that is included within this.
I think the description is very detailed and thorough.
I will be doing everybody's, even myself, job descriptions so that they are updated and the board has a little bit more clear picture of what we're all doing.
So can I, first of all, I want to say how happy I am to see this on the agenda, because it's the second week in August. So we're only, 2 board meetings into the first quarter, and I think I was pretty outspoken at the budget workshop and final budget vote that the full-time aspect to having more staff in the office had to be addressed in the first quarter. And it is, so I thank you for that. And then back to, Abby asked you about community development. I'm just curious, because that term can mean many things. So my question is, will that involve helping us with our communication efforts at all?
So,
as in like MailChimp or website, Facebook?
as I am going through this wage analysis and kind of how do we administratively function things, this position is more focused on operation with making sure information, so that communication is a part of it, but it's not the main focus.
No, I know, I'm just saying, is it a part, will it be a part of it?
A little bit. It will be a part of it, but, as I said, one of the questions of the board is, or maybe we have a part-time position coming down that is more focused on that, answering phones and helping guide people where they need to go, as well as I was talking with the parks, maybe we have someone to help with the parks in promoting them as well as doing some work out there. So maybe it's, that can be part of our focus at funding parks is we have someone that can help the parks do some more things.
You saying parks?
Parks. Park and recreation. So that's a longer discussion I'm having, as I assess our operations and what I've heard from you, so I can come back with some options for discussion.
Okay, but my question was on communication specifically.
Yes, so it is a part of it a little bit, but it's not our main focus.
No, I wouldn't expect it to be.
So when
Clearly, I'm just trying, as you know, we talk a lot about this. I'd like to up our game in communication to the level it has been in the past, and for a lot of reasons it hasn't been able to be, and I would think hopefully that person might be able to assist in that. That's all.
Yeah, so if you're in your packet, and it starts on page 49, so it's probably, I don't know what number it is.
40.
On just above the position qualifications, it is talking, it's 4 bullets up, 5 secretarial support, including typing forms, correspondence, department and reports, initiates, monitors, and composes web page updates on the township website. So that part is a part of it to keep our website up to date. Really, she has done a fantastic job of getting our permits in order and updating them on the website, and is helping myself, Deputy Clerk Babinski, all kind of keep together with information. So we're all trying to spread the love with communications on keeping it going, so we can focus on other stuff in our town.
So, back to telephones. I was brainwashed many years ago by AT&T Illinois Bell. And then I became kind of the customer service guru at my last job before I retired. So here's my question. Who's responsible to answer the phones? Because I feel that's your front door to the business, township, and so somebody needs to carry the primary responsibility for that, and I think it makes a huge difference. People don't like it if it's not answered, or, I mean, they have to leave a message now and then, but having a full-time person should enable us to be able to do that.
Yep. And so right now, the main focus, because most, as I said, 90% of the phone calls that come in are either for Deputy Clerk Babinski or Jennifer in building. John gets a number of phone calls.
Yeah, significant.
Yeah, significantly out of those 3. So, I try to pick up the phone. So we all are trying to do it, but the 2 ladies answer the phone the most for my assessment because people want to talk to them the most. So, most of the time when they talk to me, I have to put them on hold because they're with someone else and, I can't help them. Sorry. But we are looking at I'm getting information. Tomorrow, IT Right is coming in to do assessment of our IT infrastructure. so that we can update our phone system similar to, I believe, City of Saugatuck has, the interurban. So I will be getting quotes, and that's kind of a part of this reconstruction and renovation process. I want to make sure we look at everything.
So then it would be like a staff directory, or for the clerk department, press 1,
Yes.
or building, press 2, so.
Which we have it, it's gotta ring 5 times before it goes to that.
Yeah,
Then it
that's not
goes to
good.
voicemail, right? Or
No, it goes
through
to, well, no,
That's our current phone system.
Oh.
See,
it goes to
see what I mean,
everybody.
we don't
It
even
says
understand how.
extension
it works.
102 for
Yeah.
treasurer.
Yeah.
Just, you hit 102, then it will go to you?
Right.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. But you, it's not instant.
right. Well,
But then do people like Kyle, and when they know that they might be getting messages and they're supposed to be picking them up?
Yeah, and they know how to dial in.
They
It was
do?
slow to learn, but I hope they're still doing it.
Okay, I think that's
Yeah, and we can all dial in. It's just frustrating though. It's best to dial in after hours
I think that,
That's not good.
to get
No,
to some of
I
it.
think we're getting a little bit off.
we are,
So,
But it's
somebody
interesting.
should like to make a motion?
Can sorry, I have one more question.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to slow things down. I'd just like to hear your thinking on, the $19 an hour struck me as an interesting, if not odd figure. Is that based on
So,
specific analysis?
So looking at surrounding communities, this, my initial analysis at statewide survey data, and that is, around where the starting position is for this, type of position. So that is in line with where everything else is going. And a part of what I'm looking at with the wage analysis is a step system. So that will be more fleshed out. I just took some initial numbers and I'm comfortable that, after I looked at it and, having done a wage analysis as my master's thesis, I am comfortable with this number as, around that number as the starting.
Well, you said it's a starting number. I'll just voice my feeling is I'd be comfortable with a higher number. It just seems odd to me that it's not 20 or 22, but.
Well, I think it's a good place to start, and I'm thinking what the trustees make when we step in.
Well, my deputy makes $18 an hour.
Right, but, and that's not a part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, motion.
I move to authorize the creation of the Community Development Assessing Coordinator position as presented with a wage of $19 an hour with benefits, with flexibility to negotiate, and authorize the township manager to fill the position.
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy? Yes. Helmer?
Yes.
Bigford?
Yes?
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
We're not leaving, I want to.
Okay, Tri-Community Recycling Committee update. Has everybody had a chance to review that? It's not an action item,
Right.
so accepted information.
Yep.
Mr. DeFranco wanted to be here, but
Yeah,
he could only do it remotely. I just want to add to it. If you haven't, or you want to reread it again, I think it was one of the most well-written, thoughtful reports I've read since I've been on the board, and I think I've already commended Daniel on just how eloquent it is. And I'm not even talking about content, since we're not discussing it right now, but I really applaud the time, effort, and the integrity of what was presented to us. And I look forward to us getting into the content.
you see his academic
Oh, yeah.
flair
No, I know.
in here,
He's
which
got
is
a
really nice.
PhD.
I like
I know.
getting it
I know.
cited.
This is actually an action item, because we have to.
Oh, the grant
support
application.
the grant.
Oh.
All right. Well, I'd like to make a motion to support the grant application for a recycling assessment as presented to us by the Tri-Community Recycling Committee.
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Is there any questions or further discussion? Call the roll. Helmrich?
Yes.
Bickford?
Yes?
Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. This motion carries unanimously. Next item up is the 66th Street Special Assessment. I think we have two resolutions, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Two resolutions. Mr. Fry, would you like to just give a quick review of those?
Hey, you guys are just rolling through these last couple of I'm gonna try to take notes. Alright, so before you is the updated resolution. It is a paper packet. It starts off with Baker Tilly. So that is the timeline that Baker Tilly contracted their services at a previous meeting. They are our financial advisors for bonding. On here is the timeline, so as you see tonight is our first hearing of the project, which we just had, the confirming of the special assessment district, which is before you, and setting of the second hearing for the tax roll, which is the second resolution. The first resolution is establishing the district boundary, which you will see on the determination. There is the determination of the tax roll, and then the public hearing, there should be a picture on the back that is the assessment district. This is all in connection to our settlement agreement, which, by the way, I got signed, all copies signed back. I'm just waiting for the attorney on the court update of the settlement. So on 9/8, at the second meeting, which is in September, is the second hearing, which adopts a roll confirmation at the regular board meeting, which starts the appeal period to the tax tribunal, which is 35 days. After that, the tax tribunal appeal period expires on October 12th. We start the bond specifications with Dickinson and Wright. In November, the bond resolution is then presented to the board, which is just allowing us to go to the bond. We have to go through some legal resolutions to say, yes, you're going out to bond. In February, we will start the bidding and RFP design. March of next year, we will receive the bids and contractors. Potential bid purchasers will be sent. RFP will be created by Baker and Tilly. Baker and Tilly will then receive those proposals back from the bond purchasers with a goal of bond closing in March and April. So I did have a meeting with our special assessment team, and we are all on the same page and making sure that we keep you updated as we go through this. As it's the first time you have, and it's the first time I have. I've gone through a bonding process before, so I'm familiar with the bonding aspect, but the special assessment is still new to me. But with our team at Dickinson and Wright, with Attorney Sweat and Attorney Bolchi, they do this quite often. So I'm very confident and comfortable of us going through this process. So the first resolution is determination for the public improvement and special assessment. And the second one before you is the special assessment role and scheduling of the next hearing. Any questions?
Yeah, so if this goes smoothly like clockwork, according to this plan, when will the special assessment start being charged to the residents? Do we know?
That will be, it will be looking to be, for my initial discussion, it will be in a winter tax, but that won't be determined until later down the line, which at that point I will be bringing you in on the, payment part.
So in all likelihood, wouldn't it probably end up being winter of 22 tax year, not this year? Or could it possibly happen this year?
I believe it will be after next year, so
Okay.
the 22.
That's what I figured, because these things take time.
Yep. But they will let me know it, from Baker and Tilly, who are contacted Andy Campbell. We did talk about that lightly, but that's so far down the road that we didn't get to that yet.
No, I just want to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
First time I'm first one under my watch to add to the tax roll. Although we're losing a lot this year. So.
Yeah, we're losing.
We're lucky we have one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we're right on. Thank you.
We'll do these one at a time,
Okay.
resolutions. Is there a motion?
Are they numbered 2021-what?
08, and then 09.
Okay, sorry.
It is on the screen, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't there.
It wasn't.
No, I'm just like, hang on, I have to.
Don't make her feel bad.
No, you're not, don't worry.
I'm just taking the blame for it, though. Yeah, okay, because I can't see anymore.
Can the motions be made together or separately?
Separately.
Okay. Well, I'll go with the first one. I move to approve resolution number 2021-08. The determination to make public improvements, approval of plans, estimate of costs, final determination of special assessment district.
I'll support.
We have a motion and support. Is there further discussion? Marcy?
Yes.
Bickford?
Yes?
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries unanimously. And anybody like to make a motion on the second one? Dash 09.
I will. Move to approve resolution number 2021-09, filing special assessment roll notice of hearing.
Support?
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Is there any further discussion? Bickford?
Yes?
Helmrich?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
And, just to let you know, before you two leave, ladies, if I can get you to sign it, that way we can get it done.
Can I make a quick comment on this, which wasn't relative to the vote? I just want to point out to my colleagues that Exhibit B, which is the list of properties in the special assessment district, I'm just curious, like I said, it's not relevant to the action we've taken, but the record owner, I believe, is somewhat misleading, and I'm going to just cross-check these things. There's a lot of names down here that might be LLCs, but I just think it's pertinent for us to know who the majority owner. The majority owner is involved in this special assessment district. That's all.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 8, COVID-19 operations discussion. Mr. Fry, I know I'm rushing you. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You don't want to go home.
Yes.
All right, so after discussions with board members over the last couple of weeks, and, with everything going on in the world kind of blowing up, I have prepared, this memo for you. The first part is, talking about some desire to go back to Zoom meetings. In order to do so, we would have to reinstate our local, emergency declaration, we did keep it in place, but because the state removed the mask mandate, it went away. I did call and then also verified with Commissioner Tappengood that the county does not have one. So in order to, keep going, you'll have to declare one. Again, to renew it, that is before you as resolution number 10. That does have written into it a 6-month sunset, so which I believe is, every 6 months if we just talk about this, I can get better guidance on how you guys feel, how things should keep going. It gives us a clock to, talk about this, keep rolling. So that is what that is for. Any questions on that part? No? Okay. The next part is electronic meetings. You will have to decide if you want to go back or not, and how you'd like that shaped out. In the memo, I did mention that there has been some discussion about a hybrid approach.
Yeah.
And we tried that, we all recall, that didn't work very well. In order to go through with that, we'll have to look at purchasing some new equipment. So I just want to let the board know that if you do want to go that direction, will then purchase new equipment. If it goes above $10,000, I'll let you know.
So are you gonna talk to IT right about that, or tomorrow when you,
I can, and try to get that updated.
I wonder how far behind we are, because it seems so many places are doing hybrid. Like churches, appeal to the people who are either sick or very compromised, and other organizations, so, and they don't generally tend to have a lot of money unless they're mega. So I'm just trying, so where do you see the deficit, or what is it that blocks us from doing hybrid?
So,
I remember what happened that time, but is that the only way to do it?
so there are different ways, always different ways
Yeah.
we can look at it, and of course I'm gonna look for the most financially reasonable one. Because, like, Abby over here, I don't like to spend money as much as possible.
That's right. Well, we all kind of feel that way.
Yeah. So right now, our current video recording system is a security system, and it's not a reading system. So it can't go live because it's based on,
I forgot that.
not to. Yes.
I just want to say that the city of Saugatuck has been looking into that. We did just get a cost estimate from an installer, and it was over $23,000. And in the meantime, between our shoreline, our IT people, and our staff people, we did come up with a way that it will work. It would require the purchase of some microphones, because that was what was the difficulty last time, you couldn't hear anybody.
No,
And I'm going to be setting up that meeting tomorrow for my zoning board of appeals, and I would like to invite Joe to come and learn from our intern how that got set up and what it needed.
That would be great.
I'm thinking maybe around noonish, but I'll check with Kate, who's going to have to show me how to do it.
Yeah.
But that way,
No, that's terrific, Sarah, and good timing. We all know we need new microphones anyway.
One of the things, just, I'm not an IT person, but having had to do with this in Blissfield, one of the things that we have right now is, with the speakers, we can get just a couple more additions and have, do it kind of piecemeal, and then a new camera system. So I don't really think it'll be too extravagant, because it's really, we just need a couple more microphones and how it links with the laptop. And we might get a special laptop that just does the meeting itself. While I was at the conference, I did talk, the city of Battle Creek did a presentation that I attended on how they do Zoom meetings to make sure it runs a little bit smoother, so that us as the manager can focus more on our job of helping give answers to policy.
Right.
Instead of making sure that no one's blowing up our...
Yeah, no, you should not be monitoring that part of it.
So they did have some good thoughts that I want to bring back if we do go back to it. So there will be some adjustments, as we go along again. But I don't see it will be a complete overhaul. We'll just be trying to get a new recording system, which might just be a new laptop.
Yeah, because she was able to make it work with our recording system, which is the same one that you have, that Elliot set up.
Right.
So it's the same one, she was able to make it work with that, and actually could live stream the meeting.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There was, the question was whether or not people would be able to participate with their live streaming, and I'm not sure that's all completely resolved yet, but, she had one more missing link to get that all going.
Yes, maybe I can talk to, what was her name?
It's Kate.
Kate, on how Battle Creek did it. They did it by phone call, which I think is a better model, for us to use, and it might be a good model for Saugatuck. So it might be more collaboration as we go along.
Okay. I think that we should still do the emergency proclamation.
Yeah, absolutely. We finally made it into the red zone, so we're as bad as you can be, basically.
Yeah, it's moved quite quickly.
You're welcome. Well, it happened, no, we've been in the red zone a while, but yesterday we were at 12.5 positivity rate. Today I'm gonna guess it's probably higher. I know too many people who are very sick. And breakthroughs.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, I will move to approve resolution number 2021-10, declaring a renewed local state of civil emergency pursuant to Chapter 2, Article, what is it? I don't know, 6 of the Township Code.
That's my
I'll support.
Latin coming out.
Pardon me?
That's my Latin coming out.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Bickford?
Yes?
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Helmrich?
Yes.
And Aldridge?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
And then, if I can have a motion, if you would like to go back into Zoom meetings.
I think until we have the hybrid approach,
Yes.
ironed out, and, make sure that's a viable option, I think we should just return to Zoom.
Just what?
Just
Return
return
to
to
Zoom?
Zoom, yeah.
Just for everybody's safety.
Is that a motion?
I can clean it up a little bit. I move to, conduct the township board meetings via Zoom, effective, on August 12th. Well, does that give you enough time? Effective immediately, or?
What about our workshop?
Yeah,
Will that be Zoom?
that would be Zoom.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
Let's move the workshop then.
Why?
How does that affect, I'm sorry to interrupt, I know you said board meetings, but how does that affect planning commission, special committees, and other, is it apply to everybody immediately, or?
From my understanding of what you're asking for is everything will go back to Zoom immediately. There are some hiccups. There is a World Conservation meeting tomorrow.
Right.
They won't be able to, because they won't be able to get
Can't
notice.
notice it.
Right.
So, there are, some delays, but everything else will. And then I'll get posted for the, workshop to be back in Zoom, unless you want to do that in person.
Why don't we make it August 18th? Is that the day after our quarterly meeting? Makes that the effective day, August 18th.
That's what I would do.
So we're gonna have a workshop?
Then we meet in person.
In person.
Right? That's the 17th, right?
Correct.
And then people can come to that though,
Yes,
right?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just us.
Yeah, but it probably
It's very
will.
unlikely to be.
Right.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you again on this, in the middle of your motion.
No, I'm finished.
Is it appropriate to add in the motion, like instructing staff to further investigate the technology needed? Do we have to?
I don't think we need to.
Okay. But, so he knows we want them to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got that part. I'm like, all right.
All right.
That.
Without direction, that's fine.
And then
Thank you.
Okay, so I have the motion as to resume all public meetings via Zoom effective August 18th. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds good.
With support?
I'll support. Go ahead, sorry.
I'll support.
Okay. Bickford?
Yes?
Aldridge?
Yes.
Helmer?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries unanimously.
And then, there are two more parts to this agenda item.
Oh.
Sorry, it's a long discussion that I needed to have with you. The next part is township hall operations. So as we are back to normal operations per the policy, if I'm going to change them again due to COVID, I have to come back and you have to affirm that change. My, recommendation is, as health is our number one issue, is that we go back to appointment-based. And then all individuals who do not need to be in the office work from home. And so I just need the board to, a motion to affirm that. If there's no discussion, I'm always happy with discussion.
Would that be the bottom one?
No, that's already.
Oh, so we have to make one up?
There's no slide for it?
There's no slide for it. It's just a simple motion to approve, the recommendation for operations.
Oh.
Something.
I move to approve the recommendation for operations.
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Any further discussion? Aldrich?
Yes.
Bickford,
Yes.
Helmert,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, motion carries unanimously.
Just one second. Alright, then the next item is our COVID vaccine policy. Again, discussion with the board, there was, some wanting of that, so, you know, being who I am, I like to make sure I have our attorney's backing. I do have a legal opinion on file, and did direct the attorney to put together this policy, to make sure we're all good. So this policy, in essence, would require, with a timeline, that employees, get a vaccine or have to follow, certain steps within here. And I do believe that that would, you know, meet what you guys have talked to me individually on. Any questions? And just know that I don't know anyone else in our local area that has done it, so it's just a note for you. But I've heard that they're going that way.
We're just quicker.
Well, I think we should be proud to lead the way.
Yeah.
Shall I make a motion?
Please.
I move that we approve the COVID-19 vaccine policy as presented this evening.
I'll support.
We have motion and support, is there further discussion? Helmert,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Osmond, yes, Bickford,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yep.
motion carries unanimously.
Right.
Second page.
No, we're done with this slide. We can move on. Thanks for, the discussion and direction, I appreciate that.
Social Alliance letter.
So, the board directed at the last July board meeting, for staff to review the Coastal Alliance letter and, give a recommendation on, you know, which direction to go. So after reviewing what we have sent in the past, in the letter, the Army Corps of Engineers, in this process that we're going through, is designed to review all applications, all differing opinions, designs. That is their job. The township has made it very clear in like a 3 to 5 page letter at the beginning about our adherence to the master plan, environment, cultural stuff. You know, we are tuned to those things and would like the Army Corps to be in tune to those as well. So after review of that and with staff, our recommendation is that there's no need for a letter at this time, but we did prepare a letter to reiterate our stance in our previous statement to the Army Corps, and that is for you as a recommendation. If you do want to send something, the staff's recommendation is not to send a letter at this time, because we've talked enough about it.
Joe, is there a reason why we're using Griffin?
Yeah, to note that,
That's insane.
yeah, that will be changed. That got a typo left in. When I did my review, the main focus is making sure the content, so we used the template that we had used before, and just like, well, that last little bit's fine, it has a phone number, well, we didn't realize the email would change.
Okay. So are you proposing that there's this little summation here letter, that not be sent? Or is that what we're deciding?
That we as staff recommend that we don't send anything, because we feel as staff that, we've said what we need to. If the board does want to, this is just reiterating what, you know, our stance is regarding this issue. So it's up to the board. I'd just like to have something to talk about.
Well, not surprisingly, I like this letter.
Yeah.
I think it's very well written and concise. Because I think it also underscores, I mean, the history here that Joe wasn't here for, yes, last we did do 2 written submissions to the Army Corps, primarily because previously, the requests from the Army Corps sent to the township government were basically put in a circular file and never responded to. So we were very concerned that we were not considered an official consultant party because this proposed project is in the township. It's probably the biggest land use issue any of us will deal with in our terms. So we wanted the Army Corps to at least know we're here and we're following this. And then the most recent Zoom meeting of all the consulting parties, we had Joe and myself as a rep from the board because, again, previously no one participated. So I like this as a affirmation of that and an acknowledgement that there has been a alternative proposal sent to them. My understanding is that Fire Chief Janik, I don't know if he's endorsed it, but he's given it full clearance on the public safety aspect, and I'd like to see us send a letter.
Is that a motion?
No. I was expecting more comment, and I'm just saying, or we could consider, I don't know, amending the letter. I don't know. I like the letter, but is there other discussion
Tell me again why
on the
staff
content?
thinks we should not send it. I mean, I don't know how long their memories are, I don't know how.
So, through staff discussion.
I'm having the same problem.
We are cognizant of the whole process from start to beginning, and the nature of this project, we are cognizant of, and want to make sure that, we stand behind what we said, believe what we have said, best represents us as an entity to the Army Corps and what we're looking for in this project. But what they're looking at right now is kind of in the Army Corps' engineering hands, and not, we're not designers of marinas, they are. And so that's kind of why we are like, we'll let you guys decide how to go forward, because that's your job. But, as John said, we also felt, too, that, if the board does want to reiterate our position, that this would be a good response back to reiterate it. Just to say, hey, by the way, remember our first letter? Read it.
First 2. Or 2 only. This would be letter 3. And I think the timing's important, too. And I also think it states clearly what you just said. We're not engineers, and that's their job, and we're just saying, consider everything.
Okay, do I have a motion then?
All right, I will. I'll move to send this letter regarding North Shores of Saugatuck to the Regulatory Office of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Support?
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Further discussion? Marcy?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Bigford? Yes. Aldrich?
Yes.
Osmond? Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
I mean, you did all this work.
Just take that person off.
Yeah.
He's been told that, he even caught it himself.
I have to give kudos to Sim. I would have caught it when I said it.
Oh, I thought you meant on the letter.
No.
She was the first one to catch the griffin?
Oh, I caught it a couple.
I was second.
I caught it a couple days ago. I just didn't make a phone call.
But did you say anything?
Oh, I've been waiting for the public hearing. Good meeting.
Okay. Principles of Government by MTA. Mr. Fry, I almost called him Graham.
It's 8:30, so.
Yeah.
The next thing on the agenda is the NTA sent a letter, it got lost, now it's back. Is a motion motion to sign the principles of governance, which is basically a pledge. I may be on it. Here's the letter in your packet, and then there is a pledge letter, so I'll get your all signatures. I have it in the office, and basically it goes in a frame and it's hung up. Which, when I read over it, is basically, do you believe in good governance?
Exactly.
So, that's what it is.
Okay.
John, do you want to talk about it?
Oh, I'm just gonna add, I mean, I think it's a great thing, because it just, again, further underscores how we have been so dedicated to working with the MTA. They've done a profile on us in the magazine, they've sent us their plaque, and this is, I think, just part of being a committed member of the organization, which I think is, on so many occasions, helps us as individuals and collectively in better governance.
Yeah, I don't use them often, but, I mean, several times a year, I'll call, and it's amazing, the level of service and knowledge.
Well, the email response is cool.
I talked to him yesterday, and he was really good.
And they don't charge for caller inquiries.
Right.
Well, they are lobbying firms, so I really hope they don't charge us for a phone call.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
They do lobby on township's behalf.
Oh, yeah.
I hope they don't charge us for that.
That's right.
Are we a regular or a premium?
I have to confirm that.
I don't know, what's a premium?
I didn't know there were levels.
I
There
didn't
are
either.
levels, and one of them you get discounts for, training and that.
Okay. Well, let's look into it, because many of us have taken their
Yeah,
training.
I don't know. How that was. There are lots of them.
Does this need a motion?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna move to sign the principles of governance from the Michigan Townships Association and strive to meet the standards within this pledge.
I'll support.
We have motion and support. Helmrich,
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Bigsford.
Yep.
Marcy.
Yes.
And Osmond, yes, motion carries unanimously. We're up to now number 11, workshop agenda. I think that, Mr. Fry has presented some, concepts that we can discuss at the workshop. And if there's something we see that needs to be taken off, or something that needs to be added, now would be the time to take a look at that.
That will be talked about at that meeting.
At that meeting, yes.
What, additions or changes?
So, to go over this, and what I'm proposing is the first agenda item of the committee of the whole is to talk about the renovation concept plans and what I'm proposing, and what I've been working on these last 8 months to get ready. And basically, if you like it at that meeting, I will then start pursuing, actually getting hard numbers and costs, and so that we can start doing this and kind of going over my proposed plan. All this has to do with financial items. The capital improvement plan, we didn't have currently one, so it's to tie all of our things in together. The American Rescue Plan Act review and proposals, so I do want to know, Executive Director Mark Whitty from the Allegheny Community Mental Health did send me this presentation, but as I told the board previously, I was holding everything so that you can talk to them, because, I talked to managers across state, everyone's sending a letter. So I'm trying to compile things together so that we have one conversation together. Where do you want to go? And that's what everyone's recommending to do. So I just want to let you know that that didn't get dropped, it's just being held on to. So I didn't want to feel, if you guys feel like I missed something, so I was letting you know.
No, I just thought, did I read that and forget about it? I didn't know who he sent it to, so that was all.
I didn't send that on because I've been holding on to it, as I mentioned I was going to. Building services verification, that was a conversation that Brenda had asked to be put on. The chart of accounts we're talking about, and as I mentioned to most of you, looking at for transparency and how we should fund and restructure ourselves, especially with my conversations about the park commission and it being an elected body. There are some things I would like to recommend to make us more compliant. My goal is to make it under 2 hours. With with a discussion with you all. You guys can add, subtract, do whatever you want. We can add it, an item, which I will, is, if anything else that pops up, so it's a little bit more open in free form, but the main focus would be these if you so choose.
I think this is pretty robust, and it will take all of 2 hours. We wanna cover these topics, with, thoroughly, and I think we can add even like a list of topics for the next meeting, so we just have them on file, and I can't think of anything, right now, or since we've reviewed this, but I like the agenda.
No, and I would suggest over the weekend, if we have an idea, send it to Joe to add, because the other thing too, it's probably good to say we won't go more than 2 hours, and if we don't get to everything, they're on the next agenda.
Right.
It's the first time we've done it, and we might spend 2 hours on 2 of those.
Right.
Or ARPA's a huge, that could be a 2-hour discussion, so.
My goal is for these quarterly workshops, committee as a whole, is so that I can get you all in a room, give me direction on where you want to go, so I can help continuously paint that picture of where you want it to go.
Well, I'll move to approve the agenda topics for the August 17th board workshop meeting as presented.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? Bigsford?
Yes?
Marcy?
Yes.
Aldrich?
Yes.
Helmert?
Yep.
Osmond, yes. Motion carries unanimously. And now we are to number 12, Township Manager Review, closed session. I think, being that it's 8:30, those of us who work all day have had a really long day. I really don't want to schedule more special meetings, but we want to have time to go into it. So what I'd like to do is distribute the results to you.
Okay.
And, maybe Mr. Fry can commit a time for a meeting. It would be nice if we could do it before August 18th, so we could still do it in person. So I will, I'm
pretty flexible,
except at 3 o'clock.
I know we have a long agenda. I think I could, probably solve the verification, issue. I have an idea. When you
Can I
start.
interrupt?
Pardon me?
I'm just afraid that this is the second one where we've planned it, and then we've gotten so into all these other topics that we don't have the brain power to give it a due,
Well, what we need to do is go into closed session first. After public comment. Because by the end, you're right, after 3 hours, we're tapped.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna suggest that maybe we do it before those other things at the workshop, but.
I was thinking the same thing, but
Are you,
that's what we want to have enough time to communicate clearly what we need to communicate.
So, to that point, I think that would mean it would have to be on Monday, the 16th.
Or it could be as soon as Friday, we just
I'm
need 18
off
hours.
Friday,
We're off
is that
Friday.
right?
Monday would be fine with me.
I very much would. I think that I have my calendar.
so when we, just to let you know,
Yeah.
we did a doodle for time, so if you guys are fine coming in early, and we'll do it before the workshop, we will schedule, the closed session at 10, and then we'll just go into it with a break.
And then if we're not satisfied because we don't have enough time for the workshop, we could add a special meeting for the workshop.
Okay.
Later on. But again, then it wouldn't be in person.
Right, we're trying to
It
do
is
it
what it is.
because it's a personal
It's
kind
a
of thing.
personal thing.
Yeah.
We want
Okay.
to take off our masks so we can see each other's faces and really have a good understanding of what we have. So that's why I'd like to distribute the material. I don't think we need to go into closed session to table this item. Joe, do you
No,
think?
I don't think so. No, that's a good point, because as we discussed earlier, in the past, we've all seen composite results of the surveys before the actual review takes place. Joe actually asked us if we wanted to add or amend anything. That's a lot to process. So you have that. Cool. All right.
So we would do the closed session like we did before, people would have to leave. Yeah. So we just use it.
Yeah. So are you fine with having it that, so I hear the motion being, motion to table and set a special meeting
10
for
o'clock.
Tuesday, 10 o'clock next week. Okay.
Yeah, and if somebody can't make it, then just call Joe and let him know, and we'll figure out a different time. One for you and one for Joe.
We're gonna do it before the workshop. Yep. The same day, okay. Sorry.
I know, I was hearing the same thing, that I couldn't
So
read
that's
your name.
August 17th
At 10 a.m.
Yep.
So now you'll have a chance to look at it. If it's not very clear, the numbers in the top right-hand side that are decimals, those are the averages.
Okay,
For everybody.
great.
This is great, thank you.
Thank you for putting this together.
And it's on both sides, so.
A spreadsheet or a table?
So, okay, you want motion, that's what they're called.
Yes, a motion, please.
So I thought,
Oh, we already did the
I
motion.
thought Cindy made the motion.
Yeah,
Go
oh, you
for a
did?
second.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I'll support.
I was hoping you would. Any further discussion? Osmond? Yes. Aldrich?
Yes.
Bigsford?
Yes.
Helmrich?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
I just would like to note that I am looking forward to the review, because I very much appreciate having one-on-one, Marcy, Brenda.
That's all right.
It was
I
Marcy.
have two first days, it's really okay, everybody
You know,
does it.
we've all had one-on-ones, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's helped me get better, my things done.
Yeah.
So I do look forward to be able to see your faces all in one room. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joe, for being flexible. I know that you want to get this behind you.
It'll be time for the next one.
Yeah. You just want to wait till January?
Okay, treasurer's report?
All right, rather slow.
I know.
Okay, cool. All right. Good news is this is going to be short and quick because we're only 1 month into the new fiscal year. So, as of August 1st, our general fund bank balance, flat to July, just sticks there at $2.2 million. Fiscal year 2022 has begun. Total revenue across all funds after 1 month of a new year is behind budget by 6%. Expenses are also behind budget by 5%. In the general fund alone, revenue is 4% behind budget. Expenses are exactly flat to budget, which is always good. The revenue underage is purely a timing issue, as many revenue lines will not see activity this early in the fiscal year. The numbers kind of get spread out in the database, divided by 12 months, and like our admin tax that we collect doesn't start till the winter bill. So there's no reason to worry about that underage. As Joe's already said, the American Rescue Plan Act, we have not had an update yet from the state on the timing of the first payments to local municipalities. MTA today, I think they said there'll be a database up on Monday where I can verify that all our forms, we've gotten verification, but we've had many forms to submit to get our money, but I can double check that on Monday, I believe. On the investment side, total in August remains about the same, just north of $1.8 million. Clerk Bigford and I plan to purchase 2 new products in August, not to total more than $600,000, which we discussed in more detail last month, and these will be for shorter terms than our currently held bonds. 2021 tax year started on July 1st. It's over 500 people. Actually, as of today, it's gone over 600 people have already paid, which is encouraging. And this is at least 20%, if not a little more, of all our parcels.
received in the very first month. The consent agenda, which we approved, includes the detail, if you care to read it, for the 2 disbursements we actually made in July, which totaled $787,000. There will be 2 more made in August, which should be about the same amount I'm estimating, and I will provide that detail at the September meeting. Thank you for your attention.
Committee reports, road commission.
Do you have anything new on them, Joe? It just feels like yesterday we met.
Right,
That was
my
before our
brain
last
is,
meeting, yeah.
so, a couple of updates on roads I was gonna go over in the report. After talking with Brenda, we anticipate putting a public hearing in September, so the public can have input on the road plan. Are you still fine with that, Brenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did, ask, Glenn Heckner to brush hog the side of the roads, as we have scheduled. That will start in the next 2 weeks. I did make a mention of Old Allegan at the church,
Yeah.
So between the county and this, hopefully we can get some of that, sumac taken down.
And was the county gonna do the, north part of that intersection, the Cavalletti property?
No.
No?
No, I didn't talk to them about that.
Because,
I did talk to them about it, but it's not private property, and it's not,
oh, it's not the,
Cavalletti.
it's not
it's a
easement?
neighbor's.
Pardon me?
It's a neighbor's property, so it's out of the, it's most likely within it, but it's with, the local homeowner doesn't want his property disturbed when everyone else on the block has a similar frontage slope.
Okay, so are we going to address that with Nick, or,
The county has already addressed it with Mr. Capiletti multiple times.
before he came to the meeting, saying they will not do it?
Right.
It's, okay.
Yes.
It's similar to the Santa Moore property, right, the other side of the motel.
But it is dangerous.
But you could say that about that, it's their private property, and they have chosen to let everything grow wild.
So there's no rules about endangering life?
Sometimes it crosses into code enforcement,
The county
based on Lene's input.
has reviewed the property and they sent out an individual, and the viewpoint for turning left or right is within standard. If you go out,
That's
left and
that's gonna become a bad word.
Yeah,
Really?
You heard it first.
Yeah.
And then, we looking at the guardrails, or, this kind of goes with the roundup question that had been circulated. He owns the art gallery, can't remember.
Jim.
Jim Brandon.
Yep, very nice gentleman. I did see what he was talking about, and I will be reaching out to Tommy at some point to talk about it. But my intention, and what we started is relooping guardrails, and then my plan is to work with next year the county that there are certain guardrails that will just weed up a little bit more regularly, and we don't want roundup there. Just for a more environmental safety. And they are also currently Glenn is cleaning up the fire hydrants so that we have better access, and I'll send you some pictures about what some of them look like. You can't see them, so we are making sure that we can.
So, originally, Jim had said he was gonna do it himself, his area of the guardrail, or maybe even more of an area. And my understanding was that the county apologized because whoever they hired went ahead and sprayed the Roundup.
There were 2 different times, from my understanding is initially, and then this year, from my understanding, I could have misunderstood him. The county did it, but he thought that they weren't going to go further down the road, which they did. And so me and Jim are working on it, and that's why I'm going to be talking to the county and saying, hey, this certain section, we're just going to leave it as part of our road operations.
Well, they knew though that, there was an agreement before.
Because we had taken action
We did,
2 years ago.
A new contractor was hired to
Yeah.
do it, and there were some issues.
Yeah, I understand. So some of these, I worry about them just falling through the cracks.
Right.
And if Capoletti's was already settled before he even came here, I don't know why he came here. And then the church property, is that an easement or is it the church's? That's the worst part of it, is that property right there.
I talked to, Craig, and he did say that that is within it, and he's setting a crew up. So it depends on who gets there first, to address that issue for the site. So either our team, through our road cleanup maintenance, will get there, or the county will. And depending on who that is, I'll let the other person know you don't have to do that.
What are we, give me a vague timeline.
The next 2 weeks.
Okay. Because it's bad.
Yeah.
To turn.
Okay, let's keep moving along. Fire board.
Basically I don't think the stats are in the packet this month, were they? But, I didn't bring them, but, we've discussed the Allegan Road safety issue at length at the meeting, and also Chief Janik, wanted us to know that we can have COVID tests as a board, members, and he wants us to call first to the fire department, and then they will come out to our car. We had been going in that we needed to test, but they want to come outside from now on, so, and that includes your family, immediate family too.
But they are
the rapid tests.
They are the rapid, so you have to know it's less. Depending on when you're testing.
Right. Okay, moving right along. Planning commission.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Here we go. So, the planning commission met on Monday, July 26th, right here in the hall. There had not been a meeting in June. Public comments were heard on traffic on Blue Star Highway and the proposed event center. We had the election of officers for the new year. Rebecca Israel remains as chair, David Eiley remains as vice chair, and Daniel DeFranco remains as secretary. We then had the public hearing on special approval use and a site plan review of the proposed event center on the site of the former Blue Star Nursery. We heard from the property owner, the engineer, and architect. There was much discussion on parking, neighbors' concerns, size of events, driveway plans, and the hours of operation. There was further discussion on the fact that a portion of the site is actually a separate parcel that is not zoned commercial. 2 neighbors spoke regarding noise and traffic issues, including Mr. Capoletti. The SAU special approval use was approved 6-0. The site plan was tabled until further details are submitted to the Planning Commission. We then reviewed a proposed pond ordinance submitted by the zoning administrator. We requested some minor edits. We're hoping if those are shared in time, that the public hearing on this pond ordinance could happen at our August meeting. That has not been said yet officially. There was, as you may have heard, there was some discussion on having the Pledge of Allegiance on the PC agenda. Chair Israel then presented some rules and procedures for the special committee's meetings, how to conduct them more effectively. And we did an update from the 4 special committees chairs. And this is important, we agreed to begin future planning commission meetings at 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. The next meeting of the planning commission has been delayed 1 week. It will now be on Monday, August 30th at 6 p.m. I wrote this yesterday and said location to be determined. So, any questions on planning commission?
No, let's move right on to parks.
Oh, let me just add this whether now or I'm going to bring it up later. I guess we'll be posting the opening of the planning commission soon. Because we'd like to move on that hopefully next month if we can.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, parks. I think we talked a lot about parks.
Yeah, they left.
No report.
Well, they haven't been able to meet now, they will.
So the next couple items, there's not really any updates from.
I'd like to see a 2-second thing about emergency services, kind of what I talked to you about, and I believe I talked to Commissioner Helmerich about it. I spent a great deal of time with Mr. Schippa, our representative, he's the chair of that committee. He's in an informational gathering phase, so it's just something that should be on our radar, and if you see him, you can ask him, and he will report to us when he gets more information, but he has concerns about the mutual other providers aren't, and it's, negatively affecting some response time. So he is being diligent in really gathering that data to see where he needs to move forward, but just keep it on your radar.
Okay, and interurban. Packet. And a recycling committee, we received a substantially lengthy report from them. And manager's report.
I'm just gonna go through this really quickly. The Harbor Authority, that agreement is finally signed and is in the mail to us, so that is all taken care of. The millage did pass, it, is one of the highest that we have, so congratulations and thank you to our residents for that. Very look forward to keeping our cemeteries up. I spoke on the road updates and the mental health proposal that will be coming, within the ARPA. The library board will have a term that ends in September, so that will be published, hopefully by the end of this week or next week with an appointment in September.
Is that person not re-upping? We don't know, unknown.
I did talk to Director Ingrid, I don't know her last name, and,
Boyer.
Boyer? Okay, okay.
She didn't anticipate that they were re-upping. Okay.
No, they weren't.
Okay.
The park update, for operation side is, the RFP for the trail embankment, that should be ready to go out by the end of this week. This bid's coming back for next month, so we can try to get this done within this, calendar year. For the snowflies, there will be a planning commission press release going out this week. And that is all I have.
Wow, thank you. And open board report, we'll just go around the table. Aldrich, do you have any comments? No. Bigford? No. Helmrich?
Just one quick question clarification. So that we're gonna post Harbor Authority, Planning Commission, and the ZBA as soon as we can. And hope we get some good response
Excellent.
every month.
And, Marcy?
Oh,
Did you forget something?
I did, I'm
So,
sorry. This is real quick. I just want to let you know, I've had a conversation with the Executive Director of the Michigan Association of Planning. Currently, township pays the annual fees for 3 people. It's $60 a person. They do a group rate, which could cover, if we chose to so choose, all board members and all planning commission members. So that's 12 people. It would be $675 instead of $720. So it's a good savings. And I know this doesn't really need board approval, but I'm suggesting we consider doing this rather than pay individually. And it also then avails all of us and all the planning commission to their webinars, on-site training, information. And I think it's a great thing to do.
And what is it regarding?
It's joining the Michigan Association.
Joining them, I thought it was some kind of seminar. Okay.
Well, no, there's many that will
Right,
come.
I understand.
It's an annual membership, and they do a large, group rate.
Yeah.
And they do prorate the current people that have paid for it, and we'll figure out how we handle the membership for the person that just resigned, but that's a particular.
Right.
Thank you.
okay, Brenda?
Nope.
Osmond, I have nothing today. Thank you for coming, being so patient. I'm almost asleep.
I'm not even here till 10, I'm thrilled. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I told you.
Coffee, I gave him coffee.
It helps,
Yeah, caffeine does help.
2 cups.
Oh,
Didn't even touch mine.
So would you like a motion?
Any public comment?
Well,
Seeing none.
Mr. Osmond, you want to say anything?
We don't need to make a motion.
oh, that's right, we're adjourning.
Meeting adjourned.
All right,
Cool beans.
thank you, everybody.
My computer died, so.
Oh.
Okay,
You guys want to,
do you want us to sign that stuff? Yeah, okay. Not to turn the recording stuff off?
I'm thinking
It
that
can be less, it's fine. I'll do it.
just turn the switch, right?
Okay.
Well, you're starting to
bye, everybody.
not expire right here. They're getting less and less.
They're clean.
Good work, Lucy.